So now, we laid a big basis, and we do want to hear the specifics of what you came to talk about.
Well, you say these things, but unfortunately, I've got these experiences that I have to recognize them. I'm not saying, I know you say not to recognize them, but I spent 5 years coming up with an idea that solved a problem I was in. And it came out of my pure love, so to speak. I mean, the idea was spectacular. To this day, it's the best self-serve car wash RFID system out there. And applying your concepts, not focusing on what everybody else is saying, focusing on what I wanted truly in my heart. And right down to the 1 yard line, it was ripped away from me because I couldn't impress one person. I can't impress the world. I can only impress me. But in the end, this one guy, he didn't like it. He said, "Screw you, Tom, get out." So here I am, I got it done to the 1 yard line.
Do you find the conversation that we had interesting?
Yeah, because I don't believe it's true. It's not true because...
define what feels untrue.
Well, because you're only talking duality. You haven't introduced a third object. There's 3 objects here. And there's God, there's you, and then there's me. I'm more the shoe in the Monopoly game. You're the guy throwing the dice. God is the one that created the game. And so I get moved around the piece. I get moved around the board whether I like it or not. And if I land on Park Place, everything is great.
We see why it gets ripped out from under you, because you don't have confidence in who's in charge.
How could I? Nobody helped me. Not one person. Even my dad was standing in front of me when I'm drilling my hole trying to solve a problem. He's like, "What are you doing, Tom? Why don't you just quit?" My family, my friends, everybody. But I continued because I believe it. To this day, this is the finest.
So why is it over?
Yeah, I'm asking you.
Well,
on the 1 yard line, you guys ripped this away from me because I didn't impress everybody. I'm finding I have to work holistically. I can't work holistically forever. I get completely exhausted. I can't impress the world, yet that's what I have to do.
Well, here's the thing. When you find alignment, now this is going to be irritating for a minute, but it'll get better. When you find alignment and you're able to, in a reasonable way, manage your alignment, the exhaustion doesn't come because the resources keep coming to you. We want to go back to what you were saying about the 3 components, the 3 players in the game. Give those to us again slowly from your point of view. Who are they?
Well, there's God.
Leave that one till last. Tell us the other 2
that's the
first.
most important.
That's why we want you to leave it till last. So give us
and there's you, the second object.
And then you.
And then me.
So now, what's your role?
I'm you guys projecting an idea into a physical reality. And I'm like the canoe boat, and you're the canoe boat driver.
That's different than the way it is, and it's different than the way we see it, and here's why. We're not projecting the idea into you. You're sifting through the details and knowing what you don't want and knowing what you do want. So you're the projector of the idea. The rocket of desire was born from you. Now stay with us just for a moment.
My higher self is the projector, not me.
But your higher self wasn't out here on the leading edge. It may feel like your higher self was the projector of the idea, but you were the discoverer of it and the launcher of the rocket of it. And your higher self, which is where we come in, then became interested and a vibrational version of it and gave our undivided attention to it. And as we did that, as we held the idea that you birthed in steady, conscious focus, when you came into alignment with it, it felt like it was our idea, because when you came into alignment with it, your grid filled in with the idea, and it felt like the idea came from someplace else. But the idea was born out of your contrast. We held it until you were vibrationally ready. When you somehow, some way, maybe through one of the processes that you learned from us or someone else, found vibrational alignment with the idea, that's that grid filling in. Now, let's talk about that in the context of what we're talking about here today. So you put the idea in the vortex. You maybe didn't even know you did. You knew what you didn't want. You know what you do want. You know what you don't want. You know what you do want. And here the idea is, and it began amassing. You put all the components of it there. We promise you did. You put all of the components of it there, and law of attraction began amassing it. We stayed as the tender. The guard keeper is not the right word. The tenderer of it. Now, you've heard us say step one is ask. You did the asking, so you were the projector, you were the creator of it. Step two is source answers. That's us standing there, becoming the vibrational equivalent of it. Step three is you have to allow it to manifest into your experience. And in today's terminology, in today's Abraham terminology, that's the grid filling in. Now, when that grid fills in, it feels to you like you're the puppet on the string and that someone else is the puppet master, but it isn't that way. It's your grid filling in because you found vibrational alignment with it. So the idea became a very viable idea. Now, we think the conversations that we had as we began here today really fill in around this in a very strong way, because our friend was talking about how he's moving along and things seem like they're going along well, and then something happens that takes him out of whack with it. Well, that's all that's temporarily happening to you. In other words, your idea is still viable. It's still an important thing. You put it in the grid. It's far more than just vibrational reality. It began filling in, but as it filled in, now just hold right there for just a minute. Just hold right there. You all followed that pretty well, didn't you? You did too. So just hold right there. So in previous conversations, we've said, so you sift through, you know what you want, but you're not a vibrational match to it because you're more aware of this than you are of that. But then you find a way to think about what you want and why you want it, and you come into alignment with it, and then it clicks into place. And as it clicks into place, you receive the benefit of the manifestation of that. You also get another set of contrasting experiences that cause you to throw it farther forward. In other words, this is an idea that is still in the process of becoming. So what if you've created some dynamic thing that you know will benefit the world? Now there's another desire that's within you. What's the desire that's within you now? Don't want to be ripped off. Don't want somebody else making the decisions about whether you live or die, whether you get to do it or whether you don't get to do it. In other words, same conversation that we had with our friend relative to self-employment, isn't it? So can you see that all that's happened to you is that you are temporarily really out of whack with the new and improved vortex version? In other words, you've created something, but now there's another creation that is afoot, and that is how to be heard. How to be heard by who? Who needs to hear about this? Who's that guy who disapproved of and kept you and pulled the rug out from under you? We're not asking for a name. We're asking for, how does that person stand in your experience?
It's everybody. I mean, for anything to happen in this physical reality, I have to work within or amongst the group, so to speak. And I've discovered that if I help the group, I'm miserable. But if I say forget the group and help myself, I'm spectacular, but the group is miserable and they won't help me.
How's that belief working out for you?
It doesn't work. Nothing works. Nothing's working.
And that's why Esther couldn't see the ticket in her purse. Her current belief wouldn't let her see it, and you can't see it either right now because you've conjured a scenario.
Because everybody wants me to do it their way. I'm not interested in their way. I want to do it my way. I bring joy into my life the way I perceive it.
Do you believe that there are people who are attracting on their terms in this world?
Yes, and I also discovered that they've figured out the relationships around them. I don't know how to figure that out.
Well, we're giving it to you because there's only one relationship that you need to figure out, and that's the relationship between what you're saying and thinking right now and what's in the vortex. And the words
that's
that are
right. And when I give, I made a discovery that kind of like questioned everything. I gave a computer to an angry person, and in the moment of giving, him and me went to heaven. So now I say, you guys have to give to me if we're going to be happy.
And what we're saying to you is, us guys are in your vortex, giving to you everything that you're asking.
You're not giving to me what I want. You're giving me everything else.
Giving you what you want, which you can't see, because of the decision that you've made about your relationship with us. You see, as long as you're giving us the power to withhold from you, and you can't control us or anyone.
That's not true, Abraham, because you send the feeling. I can only act. I try to make the...
We don't send the feeling. The feeling is a byproduct of where we stand and where you stand. And
That's
where
right.
we stand is in utter knowledge that you can have everything that you want, and where you stand is in utter belief that someone else is calling those shots. And as long as you believe something that is so apart from what we know, you're going to have that feeling of doubt, because that feeling of doubt is your evidence of the difference in what you believe and what we know. We know. These are the things we know. We know you deserve the outcome that you are seeking. We know that the outcome that you are seeking will fill in your grid in ways that will surprise and delight you. We know that as you hang in there just a little while, that we will be having an entirely different conversation. We know that right now you're resistant to what we are saying because you have come to conclusions. It's like the first conversation we had. You've come to conclusions that are preventing you from seeing the ticket laying right there in full view. You're not allowing yourself to see it because, and here's the reason why. Here's the reason why. When you apply as deliberately and diligently all of the components that you believe we have encouraged to get you to where you want to be, when you believe that you have given your all and the manifestation hasn't come, your logical mind then conjures the reason for it not coming. And your logical mind has conjured a version that is so distorted that you cannot get there from there. You have to find a way of believing that it's still coming. And so if we were standing in your physical shoes, these are the things that we wish for you to know. We want you to know that we, or that which you call God, that third part in all of this that you are trying to define, would never deprive you of the things that you want. You are not supposed to come forward and work as deliberately and as conscientiously and with as much heart and willingness and effort as you have and come up empty-handed. That is not the vision that we have for you. And because it's temporarily the vision you found for yourself, you feel horrible because what we know and what you believe are two entirely different things, you see. We know that you will receive the outcome that you're wanting. We also know that it cannot come through the path that you've carved out because you have created too many self-imposed perspective obstacles. We'll hear you.
Well, I'm just saying it. It's like watching a 3-year-old asking for ice cream and the parent won't give it to him. And the 3-year-old is, I watched my girlfriend's grandson beg, please, can I have more ice cream? But they won't give it to him. And that's what I'm trying to figure out. Why not?
This goes wrong with humans all the time. When they assign the personality characteristics to God that some resistant mother is displaying to her child.
So why can't I have what I want? I mean, what am I doing wrong? I'm just trying to understand. I mean, I got so close to this
because in the
thing.
vibration of what am I doing wrong? Why can't I find the ticket? Why can't I find the ticket? Why can't I find the ticket? In the attitude of what am I doing wrong, there is a vibration that blocks your ability to perceive. The grid cannot fill in when the dominant vibration within you is what am I doing wrong? And what's messing you up here is that you weren't always feeling this strongly. In other words, it feels to you, as our friend said earlier, that you were moving along, and that you were doing all of the right things. You see, this is a big deal that you've got going on here. This is such a big deal that as it goes into the vortex, it's a very, very big deal. And so this is a very big, strong contrast that you are offering. This is the last piece of it that you're putting into the vortex. And it is our promise to you that when you come into alignment with this last big piece, you're not just questioning how to create something in your own reality. You're questioning the way the whole universe works. You're questioning your relationship with all that is. You came to a conclusion that is so bogus and so off, as you said, that we are the ones that are asserting to you and that you are sort of a puppet on a string that is, there isn't anything that could be more backwards from the way it is or from anything that you have ever heard us say if you've been listening to us for any length of time at all, because we've never said anything that was even remotely like that. Everything that we've said is that you are the creator of your own reality, that you sift and sort and that you come to the conclusions and you put it into the vortex. And when you put it there, we are so proud of you and so sure that you have chosen well, and we we don't question at all what you've put there. You put it there, and we stand in absolute alignment with everything that you've put there, radiating a signal to the boundaries of this boundaryless universe, knowing that you can have what you want, and we will tend it forevermore. Even if you have to croak in order to come into alignment with it, it will be there for you because you have created this that you want so much.